Let's talk about setting boundaries when you're a fat person. This video talks about fat phobia and anti-fat bias, so if you're not in the headspace for that, protect your mental health and just scroll on. Before I get into the boundary phrases, I'm going to start with a joke to create some context for why these are the boundary phrases that I personally use. So there's these two fishes who are swimming along and they meet an older fish coming the opposite direction. And the older fish goes, "Good morning, kids, how's the water?" and continues on their way. And the two younger fishes keep swimming, and eventually one turns to the other and goes, "What the hell is water?" To me, this joke perfectly illustrates the anti-fat bias systemic problems that we're all swimming in. That's the water. But there are fishes who don't know that that's the water. Like, they don't know that that exists, right? I personally define fat phobia as separate from anti-fat bias. Reasonable people might disagree, but this is how I use these terms. Phobias are a real thing that people struggle with. They're a real mental condition. And so I use fat phobia to describe the individual experience that people are having or their extreme reaction or fear of fatness in their own bodies. Anti-fat bias refers to the systemic discrimination and marginalization of fat people, just big picture in general. So one is like the toxic water that we're all swimming in, and the other one is like some people drank the water and they got poisoned and they get to deal with that. When I set boundaries as a fat person, I refuse to take individual responsibility for systemic issues. Like, I am not responsible for the systemic anti-fat bias. Me existing in a fat body did not create this social problem. When people try to shame me for having a fat body, I want to say like, "Honey, don't you know the water's toxic?" But they're over there like, "What the hell is water?" Like, they just don't know. So the boundaries I personally set as a fat person are more about the water and less about the fishes. So I say things like, "Oh, what an odd thing to say to a stranger," or just "what an odd thing to say in general," or "we don't comment on people's bodies like that. That is really inappropriate," or "please don't comment on my body." Those are all about the water. They're not about the fish. If I'm at the doctor, I say, "Oh, I don't want to be weighed today." Or, "Oh, I'm not here to discuss my weight. I'm here to discuss whatever the issue is." Obviously, not all boundary phrases work for all people in all situations. And if these ones don't work for you, I encourage you to find the ones that will.